We spend our days trying to eliminate every ounce of friction from our lives. We download productivity apps, automate our finances, and curate our routines, chasing the promise that technology and rationality can permanently delete stress and discomfort. But researchers track what happens when we actually hit these optimized milestones, and the result is rarely lasting peace. Instead, we encounter the arrival fallacy, a psychological letdown where checking off the ultimate goal leaves a hollow, alienating emptiness. Long before the digital age, the 19th century Russian novelist and philosopher Fyodor Dostoyevsky mapped out this exact crisis. In his writing, he used a metaphor for the flawless, pain-free utopia we are constantly striving to build. He called it the Crystal Palace. Dostoyevsky argued that a perfectly engineered society offering endless comfort isn't a paradise, but a trap. It asks us to trade our agency and our humanity in exchange for being sedated by absolute convenience. It raises the possibility that our modern anxiety isn't a sign that the system is broken, but a sign that it's working exactly as Dostoyevsky feared. Dostoyevsky anchors his argument on a blunt observation. Human beings are not logical equations to be solved. We are inherently irrational. We instinctively reject any system that tries to reduce us to predictable variables. As he wrote, we refuse to be treated as mere piano keys, meant to be played perfectly by a societal system. This animated model demonstrates what happens when a chaotic variable disrupts a perfect system. Dostoyevsky insisted that if you dropped humanity into a flawless utopia where there was nothing left to do but eat cake and sleep, we would deliberately smash the system out of sheer spite, just to prove we aren't machines. Our deepest driving desire is the unscripted, chaotic assertion of our own personal agency, even if that agency causes us pain. There is a prevailing assumption that we can navigate the world as purely rational actors, making choices based strictly on self-interest and calculated outcomes. Dostoyevsky built the ultimate test case for this utilitarian mindset in his novel Crime and Punishment through the character Rodion Raskolnikov. This conceptual diagram breaks down Raskolnikov's logic. He is a destitute student who decides to murder a wealthy, abusive pawnbroker. He justifies the act with cold calculation. Killing her and redistributing her cash will produce a measurable net benefit for society. He carries out the murder, but his perfect equation instantly collapses. Raskolnikov is paralyzed by a horrifying, unquantifiable wave of remorse and guilt. Cold calculation fails to govern human morality because our innate emotional reality will always override our intellectual rationalizations. Dostoyevsky extracted these conclusions from extreme trauma in mid-19th century Tsarist Russia. In 1849, he was arrested for political dissent and sentenced to death. He spent what he thought were his final 3 minutes staring down the barrel of a firing squad, only for the guns to be lowered at the last possible second in a staged mock execution. His actual punishment was 4 years of brutal forced labor in a Siberian camp. Stripped entirely of his autonomy, he existed in horrific conditions alongside hardened criminals. Inside that camp, he experienced firsthand what happens when individual choice is totally erased. He realized that forced conformity, even if it's designed to create a better society, is the true definition of hell. Surviving the camp solidified his belief that suffering is the inescapable baseline of the human condition. To live authentically, Dostoyevsky argues we must stop running from hardship and accept that the pain is the point. You cannot selectively numb your capacity for suffering without also numbing your capacity for love. Grief, anxiety, and struggle are the necessary taxes we pay to experience compassion and deep, meaningful freedom. For us, the directive is simple: reject self-deception. Stop waiting for perfect circumstances or an optimized routine to finally start living. Remaining a good person requires an active, daily fight against our own apathy. Compassion is our only salvation from the darker instincts of human nature. A meaningful life isn't found by escaping into a flawless crystal palace. It's found by diving into the messy, tragic struggle of existence, recognizing that the chaotic journey itself is the only true destination.